Good morning, students. Students, I am your assistant teacher, Mr. Swain. Welcomes you back to the GYANJYOTI online class. Students, after a long time, we have started back the exercises section, and we'll complete it today. Chapter number 3 and chapter number 4. Combinedly, I have made a video, and we'll complete both the chapters, question and answers. Students, basically we have completed chapter number 1 and 2 of history section and chapter number 1 of civics section in the month of July. So due to the completion of the course, I have left it behind and will start now again the process of completing the exercises. Okay, students. So in this series, the first chapter for today is chapter number 3, the early farmers. Students, we know that the chapter is all about the primitive man, the early man, how they became food producers from food gatherers. They were nomads at the first time, but gradually as the time increased, as the time passed, they became food producers, they became farmers, cultivators. So students, we will take the exercise section, answer the following questions. Section number A. The first question is, students, which discovery made it necessary for early humans to settle down in one place? Students, first question I will repeat it again. Which discovery made it necessary for early humans to settle down in one place? So, what was the discovery? First answer is, students, early humans began to settle down at one place once they learned farming. The early humans began to settle down at one place once they learned farming. Once they learn farming. Okay, students. So this was the first question answer. The second one, students, listen carefully. The question is, which animals did early humans domesticate and how they were useful? Students, just listen. Which were the animals whom they domesticated? Means पालतू जानवर. In India, domestic animals in Hindi we say पालतू जानवर. And what did they did to and how they were useful? The question is how they were useful. So the answer is, students, as follows. Early humans, I am not writing on the board, students, just the PDF has been sent to you, so just I will discuss with you. Okay, it will take much time while writing on the board. Early humans started taming animals like sheep and goats. Sheep means, students, you know, and goats means bakri. Sheep and goats provided milk to the early humans. Students, sheep and goat provided milk to the early humans. They knew the art of drinking milk. These tamed animals were bred and some could then be killed for meat. The goat and sheep were killed for meat. They knew the art of eating the meat. They also took in wolves and tamed them to be working dogs. Students, wolves, especially in you have seen in the polar regions, in the cold regions, Russia, Siberia, US, Canada, you have seen the wolves or the reindeer that is called. So they are made as working dogs. So a cart is being made with the help of wood, and they are carrying them to one place to another in the snow. Okay. So like that, in that manner, the wolves were being tamed for working as working dogs. Okay, students. Then students, just listen. Question number 3. We will come to question number 3. Describe a village of the Neolithic village. Neolithic age. Sorry, students. Neolithic age. So, what type of village and what are the construction? That we will see in the chapter A, question number 3. So, the answer is, students, the Neolithic villages were near the fields. The villages were on raised ground so that flood water from rivers do not get in. The huts were small and close together. The huts were of one room and had thatched roof. These huts were generally surrounded by a mud wall or a fence of prickly bushes to protect them from wild animals. So friends, basically nowadays you can see people are living in mud houses. So at that time the houses were being made in mud, and prickly bushes were there in the roof, which saved them from wild animals. Okay, students. Then we'll move to question number 4. Why did early men grow crops on the banks of rivers? Why? What is the reason? Why they were cultivating near the rivers only? Why not anywhere else, in mountainous or mountainous area or plain area? The crops were grown on the banks of rivers so that they could be easily watered. Students, you know that most of the civilizations, cities, towns in the world, in our country or your nearby places, they are settled or they have made the cities near the river valleys or rivers. Why, students? Why you are making cities, towns, villages? Why there were civilizations near river valleys? Because they could get water for different purposes. For cultivation, for agriculture, for drinking purpose, washing, bathing. Everything is done with the help of water. Without water we can't survive. It is a universal truth, students. Without water we can't survive. So the crops were grown on the banks of rivers so that they could be easily watered. Then question number 5, students. So what is the question? How was the wheel an important invention? Students, first of all, now also, if you try to carry an object with the help of a rope, you have to carry more force, more energy is required. But with the help of wheel, if there are wheels fitted, then it will be easier as to carry. Earthen pots could be made faster after the invention of wheels. At that time, students, at the time of early humans, earthen pots could be made faster after the invention of wheel. And students, different goods were also carried with the help of wheel. So, this was the major usefulness after the invention of wheel. Then students, the question answers are complete. Then section B. So what is question number B? Unscramble the words to fill in the blank. Students, there are 5 words given that are not in a right manner. That means they are scrambled, means jumbled. Ulta pulta ho gaya hai, idhar udhar ho gaya hai. So we have to make it a complete word and use them in the sentences. So students, let me write the question. unscramble the words to fill in the blanks. Students, so what are the fill in the blanks? New Stone Age is also known as the New Stone Age is also known as the dash age. So, from a scrambled word, we have made the word as Neolithic. Okay, then we will move to the second one. Early humans began to grow crops and from hunter-gatherers they became so from one of the jumbled words we get the word farmer. Number 3, student. Number 3, they used dash to store and cook food. They used, then there will be pots to store and cook food. Okay. Then we will come to question number 4. One of the early discoveries was dash of animals. Students, then we will move to the fourth fill in the blank, that is one of the early discoveries was dash of animals. One of the early discoveries was dash of animals. Students, in this question the answer will be taming of animals. Then students, many artifacts have been found. From dash. So from the jumbled words, the word which have been come forward, and the last one is, students, burials. Students, what is the meaning of burials? You know, many artifacts have been found from burials. Burials means, students, where the dead bodies are being buried inside the ground. That is called the burials. So many objects have been found there. Means the people in the early time, ancient time, they thought that there was life after death, and they tried to dig the earth, and along with the body they try to put up some things like the ornaments, artifacts, earthen pots, and all the things which is needed to survive. They just have a belief that they will use it further after their death. So this was there. You can say it is superstition or a belief or whatever, a blind belief or whatever you can say thing, but this was the real fact. Okay, students. Then we'll move to question, section C or part C, that is the state whether true or false. State whether true or false. The first one is, students, at Burzahom in Kashmir, people lived in pits. Students, what do you mean by pit? Pit means a house, means a home made inside the ground and which was used for living, and it was very, very safe. And these houses protect early humans from cold, hot weather, and from animals also. So the answer would be true. First one is true. Second one is, students, Mehergarh is one of the places where early humans learned to grow rice for the first time. So the answer is false. Mehergarh was not the first place where early humans knew to grow rice. Students, then third one. Archaeologists have found mortars and pestles in Dowjali heading. Archaeologists have found mortars and pestles. Students, what do you mean by the word mortars and pestles? It is a stone where you usually have seen in your homes also. It is still now used to powder the spices. Okay, you have seen that. I can't say the exact word, the Hindi word. So it is number 4. Students, what is number 4? In Katal Hayuk, the people would enter their houses through holes in the ceiling. Yes, it's true. In the ceiling they made holes. So students, this is the end of the chapter. Chapter number 3, the early farmers. Okay, students, I have completed the exercises, and next we will move to, in this video itself, I made a combined video about the chapter number 3 and 4. In this video itself, we will complete the exercises of chapter number 4, the first cities. Okay. Students, now we will move to chapter number 4. That is, the name of the chapter is chapter number 4, the first cities. So, in the exercises section, students, will come forward that we will come to see that I can see that A section is use the following clues to do the crossword puzzle. There is a crossword puzzle, means there are across some clues are given and down some clues are given, means we have to join the words to make a crossword puzzle successful. So let us start from number 1. Number 1 is 1, 2, 5 and 6 are in the downward sections, and in the across section there is 3, 4, 5 and 7. Okay, so in the down section, students, the first word is, they were used to spin the yarn. So what is that word? Spin the yarn means, students, the first one, students, the down. Let me write here. First one is, students, number 1, spindle. You have to write in the boxes given here. I am just writing as a in the open area. Okay. Then students, second one is Harappan script. So what was the Harappan script? Pictographic means the form of pictures they used to learn or want to represent what they want to see on the present. Pictographic. Pictographic. Okay. Number three is from across section. The large structure at Lothal where ships were loaded and unloaded. So the answer is, students, dockyard. Is that? Number 4, the smaller upper part of the city which had important city buildings. That is number 4, citadel. Okay, student, number 5. Number 5 question is, students, large rectangular buildings used to store grain. Means there were some buildings where in godowns, what type of godown? It is called a granary. 5. Then students, number 6. Number 6 is also in the down section. Mode of transport for inland travel. What was the mode of transport? How they were traveling from one place to another. Number 6. That is cart. Then students, number 7. We'll come to here. Number 7 is, students. Sorry, students, we have to write number 5 first. Large rectangular tank at Mohenjo-daro used for common bathing. That is called a great bath. It is very easy. Number 7. Used by the Harappans to build the buildings and walls. Bricks. Students, it is a very easy one. Then we will move to second one, unscrambling once again. Students, now we will come to question number B. That is the same thing which we have done in chapter number 3. Unscramble the following to form the names of cities belonging to the civilization. So there are some words given in unscrambling in the jumbled way. We have to form it in a right way and form the right words. So students, first one is AOTLHL. So it will be Lothal. I will write here. The second one is, students, Kalibangan. Second one is, students, Kalibangan. Okay, then third one is, students, Harappa. Students, then the fourth one is Dholavira. Then it is Raki Gadi. Okay, friends. So this was the B question. Then friends, we'll move to the question and answer. The first one is Lothal, Kalibangan, Harappa, Dhalavira, Mohenjo-daro and Raki Gadi. Okay, friends. Then we'll come to question number C. That is the question and answer section. Answer the following questions, students. Then the first one is, what are the main sources of information about the Harappan and why? Okay, students, the first question is, what were the main sources of information about the Harappans and why? So the answer is, students, I will discuss it with you. I will not write in the board. It will take much time. The main sources of information are the archaeological sources. Students, there will be two types of sources as I have told you to know about history. The first one is archaeological, second one is literary. But in this time there were no literary sources. The cities, buildings, pottery, toys, weights and measures and ornaments belonging to the civilization found during the excavations. Students, what do you mean by excavations? Means what we get from the ground by digging. Are the only source of information. That is so because writing did exist, but the script has not yet been deciphered yet. Students, there was writing, means they were in the form of pictographic, not like in paper or manuscript or in palm leaves. So that was very difficult to decipher. So that was the reason, main reason that has been not deciphered and unable to read. Students, the second one is, how were the Harappan cities planned? Briefly explain the main features of the upper city and the lower city. So, students, the cities were divided into two parts, upper and lower. We all know that in the chapter itself we have studied. The upper part was smaller and was towards the west. Students, the upper part was to the west. It was built on raised ground. Archaeologists refer to it as the citadel. Students, archaeologists refer to as the citadel. It also had a granary and a great bath. Students, in the upper side of the city there was a granary where the people carried their grains, keep their store there, save them from sunny weather and from rainy season. And there were also the great bath where the public gathering was done and the people take bath in large numbers. Then students, the lower part. The lower part was towards the east and larger. The lower town is where the houses were in grid pattern. They were so planned that they will look like grid. And made by the roads, and the drainage system was also very fine as compared to the other areas. Houses were built on both the sides of the road. The houses were found of different sizes. They were different sizes. Okay. So then we'll move to question number 3. What do the following archaeological finds tells us about the Harappan? Students? There are some options given here. Drainage system, weights, seals and bricks. From these evidences, what do we know about them? Okay. What the archaeologists have found about the Harappans. Then students will move to the question number D. Then the last there is the mapper. In a map of India, show the extent of Harappan culture. Mark only 5 cities belonging to the culture. Okay. So that is the last one, but before that, the first one is the drainage system. But by the drainage system, how and what the archaeologists knew about the Harappans? What was their findings? Students, the first one is, there was a very well planned drainage system. Students, nowadays in towns and cities where there are no drains, so the sewage water is very difficult for the sewage water to give an outlet to the drainage. So if there is no drainage, it is very painful for that people. who are unable to leave the drainage water outside their homes. Okay, so drainage is a must for the people now also and at the time in the ancient time also. So it was so planned that this indicate that great attention to sanitation and cleanliness, means how they were so clean that that source from this drainage system, well planned. The water from the kitchens and bathrooms in the houses would flow down through sloping floors to the drains that led to the street drains. So the houses which come, the wastewater which coming from the houses and kitchen, they went to the drains. These street drains ran alongside the streets. Then they go through the streets, along the streets. The drains were covered and had travelers placed manholes where they can get inside it and they can clean it. These drains were lined with baked bricks as well. So they were lined with the baked bricks which they have made. Then students, the second one is weights. Weights and measures, how they knew about what the archaeologists knew about the Harappan. During the excavations, weights and measures were also found. This indicates prevalence of trading activities. Means when you are going to shop or when you are going to buy something, you buy a thing at the cost of the measurement, 1 kilo, 2 kilo. If you will get some milk, then 1 liter, 2 liters. So there are different measurements, units. So the fact that there was surplus grain suggests that grain was also trade item. Means they were using the weights and measures to either to buy or to sell the grains. Third one is student seals. The Harappan seals have been found in excavations in Mesopotamia, indicating that trade connections existed between the two civilizations. The Mesopotamian civilization and the Harappan civilization in our country, they were both connected in the form of trade. So once a seal has a board depicted on it, which is evidence of overseas trade. Students, at that time, from the ancient time till now also, trade is being done in by ships. Nowadays planes are there. A Mesopotamian seal has also been found in Lothal, which city had a dockyard, means where ships were gathered where from one, and they moved from one place to one port to another port. It shows that the people had overseas trade links as far as Mesopotamia, means they were going to Mesopotamia for trade activities. And the last one here is the bricks. Baked bricks were an essential building material in this civilization. Now also we are using the baked bricks of the orange color. At the outskirts of the city, brick kilns have been found where bricks were made and baked. So students, the Ita bhattis, which you have seen in different villages. In towns also you can find now fly ash bricks to make buildings. Okay, then they were used to build the walls, buildings, drains, wells and roads. Though they knew the art of making buildings and roads. The bricks were of a standard size and were so well made that they have lasted all these years. Students, they were so strong that they were lasted for thousands and thousands of years. The bricks were laid in an interlocking pattern, fitting tightly so as to make the walls strong. Okay. Then students will move to the C. Students, now will come to the D question. Support the following statements about Harappans with evidences. The first one is, students, there were different classes of society. Okay, the first one is there were different classes of society. Okay, so what was that? The cities were divided into two parts. The first one is the upper and lower. So the upper part was generally smaller and was towards the west. It was built on raised grounds. Archaeologists refer to it as the citadel. The lower part was towards the east and larger. So there were the different classes. This sort of division in the city led archaeologists to think that there may have been different classes of the society. The upper part may have been occupied by the important or the upper class people. This is very common then, and it is possible they were the rulers or headmen of the villages. Lower people, the lower caste people, they may be staying in the lower part of the city. Next one, the second one is potters were kept very busy. Why the potters were very busy? Finding of pots of various sizes tells us that the people engaged in pottery making. This was an ancient profession, students. These pots are made of reddish clay and have designs on them in black. They were geometrical as well as tree and leaf designs drawn on pots. Means they were designed. The pots were designed. Besides this, some animal figures were also drawn. They were all glazed. This shows that pottery making was a specialized occupation. Students, the pottery making was very specialized. Then, the third one is Harapans traded with other civilizations. So, what were the evidences? How the archaeologists knew about this? The Harappan seals have been found in excavations in Mesopotamia, indicating that the trade connections existed between the two civilizations. One such seal has a board depicted on it, which is evidence of overseas trade. A Mesopotamian seal has also been found in Lothal, which city had a dockyard. Means the finding of seals, the excavation of seals in Lothal proved that the city of Lothal was having a dockyard at ancient times. So it proved that there are the trade activities connected between Lothal and Mesopotamia. It shows that the people had a overseas trade link as far as Mesopotamia. Students, overseas trade means foreign countries. Okay, they were trading with the other different countries. And fourth one is the people led a highly hygienic life. So, highly hygienic life. Why, students? There was a very well planned drainage system in the cities of the civilization. Yes, it's true. The water from the kitchens and bathrooms in the houses would flow down through sloping floors to the drains that led to the street drains. It is also true. Then this shows that the people led a very hygienic life. Means they were very aware of, concerned about their health issues. So they showed the drains to the outside streets. And students, this was the end of the chapter. The last one is a map work. So the map work can be done. You can see the PDF files being sent to you. So students, this was the end of the chapter number 3 and 4. We'll move to the next day. And for today, students, please study hard. And thank you, students. Goodbye. Tada.